Good morning, Saturday moaners. How are you all? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to this sunny and yet still a little bit crisp orange environment. In a minute, Nadia's about to walk enter screen right and go, what do you think of our orange? Where is she? Oh, no, she's not. She's sweeping. Morning, everyone. Hope you're all well. Hope you're looking forward to a nice, relaxing weekend, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're looking forward to an absolutely hideously busy weekend. We've got an odd weekend. We've got a weekend of calm, and we've got a weekend of stress, and we've got a week. Oh, I've just seen a bag of dates. Got a weekend of dates. Stick around. 11 o'clock. The curly cocks are going to be in the garden with a Gosney. I think Dina might be taking her shades off. You never know. Never. And they're going to be making some tasty, whatever it is, it's going to be tasty. It's going to be fantastic. We used to go through the papers, but we don't now. We go through the apps. We go through the news websites. So it gives you news that isn't 24 hours old. Morning, Emma Staple. Morning, Becky Fithian, Gabrielle, Catherine McLaughlin, Nora Doyle, Stuart G, and Maggie Say. Maggie Say, God, my eyesight this morning, I've got such blurry vision. Morning, I'm hoping to go into labour this weekend. Please have your fingers crossed for me. Oh, sweetie. Maggie Say, here's to you going into labour. I hope we don't bring it upon you in the next hour or so. But if we do, take a photo. I'm aiming to do all my washing over the weekend. I live life on the edge, I know, says Victoria Moore. It is a glorious Saturday morning, says Gloria. It really is. Karima Hamdi heading to Leicester shortly, so might not catch much. Okay, well, you'd have to be deaf, dumb, and blind to not pick up on the fact that the biggest news story everywhere is the Pakistan-Indian conflict, as it seems to edge inexorably towards full-scale potential war. Looking at all the headlines, Pakistan says it has struck Indian military bases in major escalation as troop buildup is reported at border. Multiple locations in India being targeted in retaliatory attacks, says state-run media, after Pakistan says 3 air bases attacked by Indian missiles. This is a constantly evolving news story, obviously. India and Pakistan. Pakistan says it struck Indian military bases, a major escalation as troop buildup is reported. Pakistan says retaliatory strikes underway after accusing India of targeting military bases. And in a minute, I'm going to play you a clip. This is a complicated one, isn't it? Because the UK, Britain, more so necessarily than America, because of our imperial history and colonial control of the region. We have a huge kind of, connection to both countries. We have a huge Pakistani community. We have a huge Indian community. The wall lines or the boundary lines between goodies and baddies in this is hard to draw for an objective person. I mean, lots of people in India feel it's very much Pakistan. Lots of people in Pakistan very much feel it's India. Then there's the Kashmiris who want some of whom want independence, some of whom want to belong to India, some of whom want to belong to Pakistan. But it's a tricky one, and I think it kind of catches the world on the hoof, because I think the vast majority of international observers don't really know how to play this. One of the big deciders, I think, in what will happen, whether it be right or wrong, is the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, is about to sign off on a $7 billion rescue package of sorts for Pakistan. And I think there's the suggestion that the IMF will threaten Pakistan with withdrawal of such funds if they are to ratchet things up, which could account for why what we're hearing from a lot of Pakistani military officials is we are wanting to, we're wanting to mitigate, we're wanting to conciliate, we want to ratchet things down, we're willing to say enough's enough if you stop shooting at us, India. Now, in the fog of war, it's very unclear to be able to ratify or confirm most reports on either side. But I want to now play you a clip. It went viral yesterday. I believe the boy is Indian, and he's speaking his native language. So it's not in English. So if you're listening, you're not going to understand what's being said. And there's a lot said, so I'm not going to be able to read it out. But if you're watching, or if you're not watching, but you've got this on, I would watch this clip. This boy needs to be a sort of a hero. listen to how he pushes back, or watch how he pushes back against a reporter who's clearly bellicose in his in his desire to kind of go, you've got to just support India, we've got to kill Pakistanis, we've got to, listen to this boy. If you want an example of balance, intelligence, and humanity, and if you want to believe that actually that could reside within our younger people, check this out.
जिंदाबाद जिंदाबाद शर्म नहीं आ रही क्यों शर्म आएगी पाकिस्तान को खत्म नहीं करना चाहिए है नहीं करना चाहिए भारत देश जिंदाबाद है नहीं है और पाकिस्तान जिंदाबाद है नहीं है आपका नाम अपनी जगह पे सब जिंदाबाद आपका नाम क्या होगा तुम भी अपनी जगह पे जिंदाबाद आपका नाम क्या होगा कैफ कैफ पूरा नाम कैफ मोहम्मद कैफ कहाँ से हैं आप मैं बिहार से हूँ बिहार से आपको थोड़ी सी भी शर्म नहीं आ रही कि भारत देश में रहने के बावजूद आप पाकिस्तान का समर्थन कर रहे हो कि कैसे खत्म होगा पाकिस्तान अच्छा आप ये न्यूज बना रहे तो आपको शर्म नहीं आ रही कि क्या न्यूज बना रहे हो आपको शर्म नहीं आ रही है कि न्यूज बना के सबको फैला रहे हो हिंदू मुस्लिम के बारे में हिंदुस्तान का समर्थन क्यों करना आप पहले हमें जवाब दीजिए उसके बाद हम कुछ बोलेंगे तुम जो बोल रहे हो वहाँ भी आदमी है यहाँ भी आदमी है वहाँ भी मुस्लिम है वहाँ भी हिंदू है यहाँ भी हिंदू है सब तो है इंसान तो क्यों सबको खत्म करना पहले ये बताओ क्यों करना सबको जिंदगी जीने का हक है सबको हक है तो क्यों खत्म करना तुम भारतीय नहीं हो तुम भारतीय नहीं हो भारतीय है आप जो बोल रहे इस देश को खत्म करो उस देश को खत्म करो तो सब में तो इंसान ही रहते हैं मैं तो छोटी सी चीज जाननी थी ये आपको सिखाया किसने दूर यार सिखाया किसने
I love that. Who taught you this? He's basically talking about the fact that there shouldn't be war, that Pakistanis and Indians have equal right to live. There should be an end to the war, that humans have a right to existence. And he completely reveals the jaundiced, one-sided, propagandist questioning of the journalist in front of him. And I just think that's brilliant, because what that clip speaks to is really exactly what's happened in Gaza and Israel and the whole Palestinian crisis. It's the one-sided, blinkered propaganda approach of the media that can't even comprehend, like so many people would accuse anyone on a peace march or calling for a ceasefire, that somehow they were supporting terrorists. There seem to be a huge section of people in positions of control who can't comprehend humanity. Literally can't comprehend humanity.
But you know what I loved with that little boy? When the journalist says to him, can I ask you who taught you this? He went, I've got a brain. Yeah, it was brilliant. We have brains and we need to use them. We really do. And I don't sign up to this idea that some people just can't. I think we get lazy. It's like, we don't do enough steps in a day. We don't do enough exercise. We have to, you're right, Victoria Moore, he's an intelligent young man, but what he's saying shouldn't be a shock. What he's saying shouldn't be something that becomes viral on Instagram for its rarity. That's the petrifying bit. And it just tells you that, again, an educated journalist, we don't know who he is or what station he was from, but the extent to which the so-called mainstream media presses and pushes one narrative of conflict and war. I have seen the Jerusalem Post headline, Abu Reed. I'm literally on the edge of my seat trying to work out at what point Trump potentially reneges on what I'm hearing. But there is a Nadia, Dean, have you heard the news? Nad, have you heard the news from the Jerusalem Post this morning? No. Gulf diplomatic sources have announced that Trump could be about to announce US recognition of a Palestinian state. What?
Yeah. It's literally it's just breaking. It's just breaking. They're waiting. Israeli media is reporting that potentially Trump with the Saudi Arabians is about to announce recognition of a Palestinian state. Now,
they've got to feed them.
And now, the problem with this is it part of some other sinister plan? Is this something to throw the cat amongst the pigeons? Is this more about beef with Netanyahu than necessarily? We all want to trust that it could be what it could be.
I've always said right from the beginning that Trump, once he's in and he's got that money from the woman who got him there, and he looks like he's done something, he's going to turn against Netanyahu. I said, didn't I? Because Netanyahu is arrogant, and you're not allowed to be arrogant with Trump.
To be brutally honest with you, maybe someone with sense and has had a word in Trump's ear and said, look, listen here, Trumpy boy. If Netanyahu continues in the way that he continues, there could be enormous question marks over whether the Israeli state can survive due to civil war, due to civil unrest within the country, due to alienating, provoking, and aggravating every other country in the region. So this might be a needs must moment. This might be, behind the scenes, they might be aware of some critical tipping point that has happened perhaps in Israeli culture or in the region, where the suggestion is simply, unless you deal with Netanyahu, you might not even have an Israeli state to deal with. The new US-led organization to replace UNRWA is the reason this could be possible, says MeTube. I mean, again, I never trust anything that comes out of Trump's mouth, because you always feel that behind it there is some other possible intent or consequence to what he's saying. So as I say, the big news at the moment is India and Pakistan strike air bases. Senior Indian official killed. Cyber attack disables 70% of India's power grid. So it's really quite accelerated overnight in India and Pakistan. Fears grow of an all-out war. Pictures here of air defense systems in action over Kashmir. An interesting part of the detail of the story with India-Pakistan is how China helped Pakistan shoot down Indian fighter jets. This, the incredibly complex tapestry of global superpowers and how they interact with each other is quite petrifying. The apparent involvement of Chinese aircraft in shooting down a Western-made Rafale has ricocheted through defense circles. It's quite significant. India says Pakistan is moving troops. This was 2-3 hours ago, indicating offensive intent. Pakistan yet to comment. A lot is being made of the fact that Pakistan's military have called a meeting of the team that are responsible for their nuclear weaponry, but that's not in order to necessarily use their nuclear weapons. They just happen to also look after their nuclear weapons. But the Western media has obviously wanted to turn that into, we're on the edge of nuclear war. Could we, within all of this, if Pakistan and India can kind of calm things down, could we be seeing within all of this a sort of ratcheting down of conflict everywhere? Who knows? Who knows? One can but dream. Obviously, we talked yesterday about the so-called trade agreement or trade deal between America and the UK. Cometh the hour, cometh the Mandelson. I talked yesterday about the Prince of Death. Is that what he was called? I think he was called the Prince of Death. There he is. Just thought I'd have a lot of the papers making much of the fact that another Blairite has kind of popped his head up above the parapets, sycophantically kind of shaking Donald Trump's hand and just greasing and oiling the palms. Ooh, God, I find him quite hideous. There he is, over laughing at something that probably wasn't that funny. Though, to be fair, maybe it was funny. He looks like he's having a good time. Reform. Let's talk about reform for a moment. UK councillors face allegations of sharing far-right and Islamophobic content. Anyone here, because I know we have a few who support reform, does it worry anyone who supports reform that reform members post Islamophobic content, or that Nigel Farage, the leader, was an incredible fan and sort of scholar almost of Nazi Germany? Is that a cause for concern for anyone? Because I mean, if it's something one can overlook, fair dues. But it does worry me. It does worry me when you hear reports of what he was like at Dulwich College and what have you. So up to 12 newly elected Reform UK councillors are facing allegations. They are allegations of sharing social media content ranging from support for the far right to explicitly Islamophobic comments. They include councillors at 3 different county councils who've shared social media content from Britain First, a far-right party known for their provocative marches. The councillors accused of retweeting include Paul Harrison, who was elected to Leicestershire County Council, Russell Cherry, elected to Thurrock. But is it a cause for concern? They find a lot and rarely press charges. I tell you what strikes me about this story is the papers report it, but I don't think there's any sort of impetus or kind of desire to press down on these sorts of stories. So I think reform's slow glide towards influence and power will just remain unchecked. I think this will just become old news quite quickly. Is Boris about to make a comeback, and could he save the Conservatives? Polls, this is in the Telegraph, suggest he is the only Tory with any voter cut through. but there is a lengthy charge sheet against him, chiefly the Boris wave. Does anyone, okay, forget whether you're a Tory voter, Reform voter, Labour voter, whatever you are. I think they're right. I think he's the only thing that could potentially pull back the Tories. I think the Tories are lost. Party evolution, UKIP, Brexit Party, Reform. I'll bring some logs for the fire, says Lucy Williams. Please don't bring Boris back, says Ross South. What about if Boris was to join Reform Me Tube? Do you think he could be resurrected? Could he have a renaissance within the Reform alongside Farage? God, could you imagine anything more? It's like two Toby mugs that have broken, standing alongside each other. But yeah, this is kind of a speculative piece talking about, I mean, to be brutally honest, the Tory party is cratering. Or are we going to just be looking at Labour versus Reform, which I think perhaps most people do feel. MAGA, there's Steve Bannon, says Pope Leo may be American, but he's not America first. No, he's not. We discussed yesterday, he's with his tweets, historic tweets, he's very, very anti-Trump. He's very anti-Vance. But I'm going to play you a clip in a moment that's an incredibly, let me just get rid of this clip. This is a lovely interview with the new Pope, Pope Leo's brother. Listen to this.
Was like, oh my God, it's Rob. It's never going to be the same. What are we going to do? Oh, yes, it's Rob. Yeah. I still do it, you know, play with guns, knives, bows and arrows. He would play priest. How boring. Come on, Rob, let's go. No, can I give you communion? And we just tease, you know, you're going to be the Pope. You want to be the Pope. Here we are today. He knew from an early stage he wanted to be a priest. And he did. Got out of grammar school, went right to the seminary. He was always like a servant to the people, trying to help the people build churches down there and schools. He's more down the middle. Okay, let's see how we can take what Francis did, massage it a little bit. As Pope now, he's just reinforcing the fact that God and Jesus said, follow me and you'll be saved. Evil will not win.
I love the fact that his brother was playing with rather worryingly knives, bombs, guns, bows and arrows. He was quite tooled up, wasn't he? But no, maybe the brother was responsible for making Pope Leo seek the cloth. And there's another really sweet clip here of whilst Pope Leo is. In fact, I've known two hairdressers in my life called Leo. And I keep thinking of hairdressers now. This is a really sweet clip. Apparently this has gone viral, though I don't know how much I can trust that, on TikTok. This is his best mate can't wipe the grin from his face on the balcony whilst the Pope accepted his kind of being ordained or being made Pope. But check out the guy on the far right, who is Cardinal Vinko Puljic. Check him out.
Capace, disarmante, umile e perseverante. Proviene da Dio.
There he is. Look at him. He's so pleased for his bestie. Isn't that lovely? You know you've got a best friend when your best friend smiles more broadly than anyone else you know when something runs your way and goes in the right direction. I love that, and I'm pleased. I hope the Pope speaks out. Well, maybe he might not. Good God! I mean, if Trump does recognize, there's got to be a catch before we run with this. Let's not run before we can walk. Let's not be lulled into the lion's den by Trump. You know, let's hope so. Let's hope so. Okay, what's the next story? We've seen that. Irish broadcaster requests discussions over Israel's Eurovision participation. I agree. I mean, let's just put to one side the fact that Israel is engaged in a genocide, and not in Europe. Well, that was going to be my next point. It's not in fucking Europe. I mean, it may as well be. Yeah, I mean, the support. I mean, but 72 nations now are challenging this because they feel that to include it is to whitewash the atrocities that they're committing. You know, their prime minister is a wanted war criminal, albeit not recognized in America. But, you know, I mean, I can't bear the Eurovision Song Contest, but it just strikes me as strange and odd and bizarre. that they're included geographically or continentally, but that they can still be there. I think this is right. I think they should be challenged, and I think they should be removed. Crumbs, how Britain fell out of love with the sliced loaf. This is apparently the story that that due to a whole range of different breakfasts, Brits don't buy sliced bread. I have to confess, actually, I haven't seen as many sliced loaves in this household as much as we used to. From rising costs through to the prevalence of yogurts, breakfast biscuits, protein pots, salad bowls, noodles, sushi, sliced bread is being sidelined amid trends for low-carb diets and concerns around ultra-processed foods. Who here still... I mean, it feels like you're having a cigarette when you have a white sliced sandwich and you put butter on it. I feel like I'm prepping a great big, well, not spliff, but cigarette. It's terrible. White bread is also a contributor to bowel cancer. Jesus Christ, thank God I got my test done. That's all my nan fed me as a child. White sandwiches with ham, which itself isn't good for you either. Oh, God. I buy sliced bread from a local bakery. And I think all things like sourdough and focaccia and all those pretentious words that we all like to use now, ciabatta, all that. It's all replacing bread. Oh, something's happened with my Wi-Fi. What's that? Share password. Oh, hang on. Oh. Sorry, I hope that doesn't. Yeah. Me too. Euro in Eurovision does not mean Europe. Eurovision was created to promote Europe's television companies. Don't care. I don't care. For the majority of us, it's Europe, and they're not Europe.
I mean, everybody should have boycotted it last year.
Yeah.
We're a year on, and we're still not boycotting.
Weight loss jabs. I mean, every paper has to have stories about them. Weight loss jabs could boost UK economy by £4.5 billion by getting people back to work, and then they can spend it all on armory and weaponry and defence. Yeah, this is basically the idea that weight loss jabs could just save us a shed load of money. A lot of research is coming through. Here's some sort of generic library images of people being overweight and then being jabbed, which I thought were quite funny in a way. Double whammy, fat jabs like Ozempic could also cure binge drinking, slashing boozing by 2/3. If we've said it once, I'll say it a million times. You might be able to inject anything into you, take any pill for anything, but unless you deal with the causes, you are going to find that when and if you have to come off the meds, and as I understand it, I think I'm right in thinking a lot of these meds, you're not supposed to be on them for life unless they are part of your diabetes treatment. You know, it's a little bit like the antidepressants or, you know, the things like citalopram and stuff like that. You're not supposed to be on them literally without consultation for the rest of your life. You're supposed to kind of go on them for a bit or come off them. They're a tool. And the worry is that with a lot of these meds, as soon as people stop taking these weight loss drugs, apparently the surge in weight gain is a little analogous with, I've said it before, when I was in rehab, they said if you stop drinking for 10 years, but you pick up in 10 years, you don't just pick up where you were, you pick up and you get to where you would have been really quickly. It's like you almost accelerate. So as I understand it, a lot of people are, if they come off these meds, suddenly gaining weight so quickly. And of course, it aggravates the mental health. And mental health is often the cause for eating too much and drinking too much anyway. So, and in other news, so the sycamore pear, which we had a bit of a chuckle about last week, though what they did was totally awful. The sycamore pear, 2 men have been found guilty of, as the judge says, mindless, moronic felling of sycamore gap tree. There they both are. How best friends who felled the sycamore gap tree turned on each other. They started to accuse each other of felling the most famous tree in the world. That's what it looked like before it was felled. This is what they looked like, the one on the left as they went into court. This is what they looked like when they were arrested. And this is the footage which the police have managed to kind of tamper with to give you some sense of visibility. At the moment, it comes down. What was going through his head at that point? Thinking, oh yeah, I've done a really good job here. Yeah, it's about to go. Oh yeah. So yeah, so I don't necessarily think he does look like a Tarquin. I think they've been found guilty of mindless criminal damage. They're going to be sentenced, I think, on the 15th of July. Yeah, the judge, Mrs. Justice Lambert, said she'll pass sentence on the 15th of July, but she said she can guarantee they will both face a lengthy period in jail.
No.
So, yeah,
Really?
they're going to regret chopping down a tree, potentially 10 years.
No.
Yeah, as part of a UNESCO heritage site. Do you think? I don't think so. I think you need to send a clear signal. 10 years. Well, no, comparatively, it's awful to other. Yes, but in terms of, I think it's right. The age of extinction, scorpions are taking over Brazilian cities with reported stings rising 155%. I'm not going to Brazil. Are you? Fucking hell, and I'm a scorpion. They look petrifying. Look at that. Many of the prison, yes, says DP. Do you feel that's right? Do you feel 10 years is appropriate? There's a bit of conflab in the kitchen about that. Meathead, says Edward Bevington. No, you're right. Some do get less for murder and get less for much more serious crimes to people.
I mean, they're not
10 years,
no,
they won't. No, absolutely. A lot of the papers are, we haven't really talked about this at all, are talking about the Beckham's feud. David and Victoria Beckham feud with Nicola Peltz explodes after deeply unpleasant claims. This is family breakdown.
The reason that we haven't talked about this because how can we know if a bloody
well, also, you know, when you're in the yeah, I mean, he didn't go to the birth, and also, just because there's a breakdown, sometimes, you know, if family members aren't, you know, for whatever reason, something's happened for a reason. So, you know, it's just let them get on with it. They haven't gone public with it. But all of the tabloids are seizing upon this, taking the nick. Romeo and Cruz Beckham mocked brothers Brooklyn's wife Nicola on Instagram amid family feud, and no one noticed. I hate the phrase when they say throws shade, because it means it's non-specific and means nothing.
But because they don't want anyone to look like they're a happy family.
Yeah, exactly. Jeremy Clarkson, meanwhile, anyone a fan of Jeremy Clarkson's farm? He's lost, or what's the name of the guy that Caleb Cooper has left the show? But Jeremy Clarkson is very keen to show off his new addition to the cast, who is this young woman called Harriet Cohen, a full-time nurse and farmer. She's the latest recruit to join the crew. He was left in the lurch when Caleb left. I thought Caleb was quite funny, but maybe she's going to be funny too. Quite a funny story, or odd story this week. You may have seen images all over the press of Prince Harry, who, yes, had been in the press sort of worried about his security personnel and being looked after and feeling vulnerable and all that kind of stuff. I thought this was quite amusing because, of course, he was then seen, blundering Prince Harry knocks on wrong door by mistake whilst visiting London friend. At the same time, he was in UK arguing he needed extra police protection. My God, you think they could have subbed that headline down, couldn't you? This is the footage or screenshot that someone took of Prince. I think the claim here is that because he was walking up and down the street knocking on doors, how could he be serious about needing security? Well, A, he didn't win, so he hasn't got them. And B, you can't say the man can't walk down the street. Apparently, he ordered a Deliveroo as well, and apparently he shouldn't have done that, according to the Mail. I mean, according to the Mail, you shouldn't breathe. I mean, it's amazing he's walked through a door. I mean, you can't walk through a door because doors block off. An open door is a security breach, isn't it? Oh my God, it's just ridiculous. But anyway, this image is everywhere of. I think the oddest part of all of it is him not quite knowing which house his friend lived in. That was the bit that was a bit strange. So of course the press going, Prince Harry caught on camera knocking wrong door as he searched for pal after saying he felt unsafe in UK without cops. Well, talk about looking for a shot of Prince Harry in any public space as if to undercut the idea that he feels safe enough. I'm going to drop that story and that story. Just bear with me one sec. Oh, this is curious. Are you a super sleeper? Rare mutation means some people can thrive on just 4 hours of sleep. Now, the last 2 nights, I had 4 hours 25 and then I had 4 hours 15. And I don't feel like I can survive on that. I don't think it is I think I'm becoming a mutation. I don't think it is a rare mutation. But this is a new study that shows scientists have discovered a rare genetic mutation that lets some people thrive with just 4 hours of daily slumber. Doctors normally recommend at least 7 to 9 hours. Who's got time of bedtime each night, with sleep deprivation linked to early onset of Alzheimer's. People with this rare mutation tend to feel fully rested. I don't, after only 4 to 6. I feel rested at 6. What's your optimum time, guys, to sleep? If I've got 6 hours sleep, I feel at my best. 4 is too little. Any longer than that, if I get more than 6, it leaves me heavy-headed. DP, Mark, you're not a rare mutation, but you're priceless. Thank you so much. This is an image of some people sleeping during a 1-hour healing session at the Yiyan Sound Healing Studio in Beijing, which is where some of this research has taken place. Sometimes I just think research is done for the sake of it. There must just be a mountain somewhere of research papers that have been utterly irrelevant, but have served their purpose in kind of news bulletins. 8 for me. Cassie, 8 hours sleep. Faye Allen, 4 to 5. Ellery Jones, 6 or 8. What's yours, Dina? What's your optimum sleep time? 7 or 8. Wow. 7. 1 a.m. to 6 a.m. Me too. That's okay. What sleep, says Dawny Harvey? Yeah, good question. Killer question. I don't really know. What is it? Furious Taylor Swift breaks silence on Blake Lively v. Justin Baldoni. As guess what her bestie Lively has done? She's been subpoenaed. Taylor Swift has been subpoenaed, and all she did was provide a bloody song for the film. So by all accounts, how do they know? No one knows anything really. Swiftie has been subpoenaed, and she ain't happy about it, apparently. Furious Taylor Swift has issued a blistering response as she's been officially subpoenaed as a witness in the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni legal war. Taylor's camp is slamming the subpoena as they argue that she was not even involved in the drama on set of 2024's film It Ends With Us. Wow. Her involvement, one of her people said, was simply licensing a song for the film, which 19 other artists also did. So we don't really understand why she's been subpoenaed. I think this is definitely going to spin into a sort of Johnny Depp, Amber Heard situation, isn't it? There they are in happier days. Incredibly uncomfortable pose there. Blake Lively must be really reaching to touch Taylor Swift's thigh. That's quite an odd shot. This is a still from the film. And getting towards, this is just an image. I just wanted to show this because it's so chilling, of Jennifer Aniston's stalker. Jesus fucking Christ.
Drove through the fence, didn't he?
Drove through the fence, and he believes he's Jesus. Jennifer Aniston's alleged stalker thinks he is Jesus Christ and she is his queen, says wife. Someone needs to tell him that if he believes he's Jesus, I don't think Jesus had a queen. Maybe sometimes with these individuals who are really mad, it sometimes takes using obvious logic to just unpick the neural pathways of their brain. If someone sat down with them and said, look, mate, I know you think you're Jesus, and I know you think Jen is your queen. What if I was to tell you that Jesus didn't have a queen? He might go, oh, sometimes it can be the simplest solutions to some of the creepiest scenarios. You never know. You never know. And in the same spirit, influencer Alexandra Sapper said she felt exhausted and defeated after fleeing her home in Bali. As she's an influencer, she was hunted like prey by a stalker who followed her to Bali.
Oh, no.
Yeah, all the way there. And I think I've got an image of him too.
That's awful. Imagine
just,
what's the girl's name right now?
I'm just checking. Hang on. Her name is, just got a story on her. Sapper.
Who?
Her name is Alexandra Sapper. She said she had to flee the tropical island to escape from Rob Keating, who'd allegedly threatened to kidnap her and said he was going to go all 50 shades of grey on her.
Oh, poor darling.
That's the delightful individual.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, it's quite something, isn't it? So, yeah, stalker. And finally, do you remember in ITV News used to do, and finally, oh no, this isn't and finally, and almost finally. Staggering number of Gen Z adults have never had sex, and expert blames OnlyFans as Channel 4 launches Virgin Island. I think the suggestion being that they're watching stuff and masturbating furiously, so they don't need to have sex. I think that's the suggestion. I think I did.
That's horrible.
And this is attached to. This is attached to a new. There's a reason for this story. This is attached to a new series called Like a Virgin, or is it called Like a Virgin?
Have you seen Open house. How did we miss that? Have you seen that second series?
No, but
But we did it on Loose Women yesterday. We've got to watch it.
Staggering number of Gen Z adults have never had sex, and experts blame OnlyFans. And 1 in 8 26-year-olds is a virgin, but 12 are about to pop their cherries on Prime. Dina, this is a show for you. 12 people are going to have sex for the first time on telly.
Oh my!
They've done all that on that in the boxing.
No, this isn't in the box. This is reality.
No, it was reality. They were
This
like,
is
they were doing it with their mates, and they were doing it, and then they come out of the box. Like,
It's kicking off to my left.
Oh God!
It's an absolute fucking shocking state of affairs. The only people want to watch other people on telly. Voyeurism, just disgusting. It is ridiculous.
Okay, that's
There you go. That's that sorted. Passengers stunned after rude influencer brings massive beast onto flight. Look at the size of that dog.
Can you believe that? And she's standing at the door going, "Can you just ask the other customers?"
But look
if
at
they mind
that.
coming in?
Look at that. I mean, that's one of the. I mean,
Size of a sheep,
if someone got, it's the size of a sheep. It's the size of an elk. Oh, well, there you go, guys. From Third World War through to sex on telly, a show that Dina has already popped into her schedule. She's definitely watching it. Lots of agreement with you there. Dina has spoken. Okay, guys, that's your news. That's your Saturday moaning. Let's keep our fingers crossed for. Let's have a look at the kind of the small print on the Donald Trump Palestinian announcement, but we'll keep you posted on that. And in 22 minutes, we're going to have some tasty food made in the garden. Yum, yum, yum. I'm so hungry. All right, guys. See you later.